When was the last time you were in silence? When you haven't picked up a phone during a boring lecture, haven't been listening to music while commuting to school, or scrolling on TikTok before going to bed? If you can't remember, then I want to ask if you have any problems with writing an essay or solving a math problem, for example. What if I tell you that those questions are pretty much related, and one thing that connects the dots is boredom? 2020 was a pivotal year for all of us. Being trapped in our own houses, we found a digital world as a savior. It was the only thing that could distract us from going nuts about being locked in four walls 24/7. Being in such an environment became a daily routine for us. But as time went by, restrictions were cancelled, but habits stayed with us, and I felt the consequences of it on myself. Couldn't start a day without a phone, write even a short essay, or solve the easiest math problem without cheating. I felt stupid and even started thinking I had ADHD and no imagination. I realized the problem and deleted all the social media apps from my phone, set time limits, and made screen black and white. First week it worked, but then I caught myself scrolling on Gmail. And it was the moment I realized maybe the roots of my issue were somewhere deeper. And those thoughts brought me to Daniel Goleman's lecture on neurobiological and behavioral topics, and I made a conclusion that the main problem is not even addiction to phones, but an inability to experience boredom and embrace it. How do you usually act when you notice a lack of entertainment? If your answer is smartphone or social media, then you're not the only one, as it's often perceived as a weapon for boredom. According to Digital Global Overview conducted in 2023, the average screen time is 6 hours 37 minutes, which is like 27% of a day. And since last year, average time using TikTok amounts went from 19 hours to 24, which say that coping with boredom is getting harder each year. You may now ask, so what's bad about it? Is that just how I spend my spare time? But have you ever thought that the time you spend being bored defines how creative you are? Maybe you noticed that the most brilliant ideas appear in the shower, a place where you are completely alone, listening to your thoughts without any external voiceover. Think of boredom as a soil, empty, even dull, but it's where the seeds of creativity grow. But why does it happen? Mann and Goleman proved my point in their research, Does Being Bored Makes Us More Creative?, in which groups were doing tasks on creativity, and some of them were told to complete boring writing tasks before the main one, and some weren't. And results showed that the group that were bored before nailed it much better than those who weren't. Also, results showed that passive boring tasks, such as reading, boost creativity much more than active ones, such as writing, as it's less cognitively demanding, so it allows a mind to wander, which is a crucial factor in stimulating creativity. But why do we even have such a useless function? In our brain, there is a thing called default mode network, a state we enter when our minds are free to wander, often during boredom. The man is actively involved in internal thought processes, such as mind wander and autobiographical memory retrieval. Research by German scientists showed that this mode fosters creativity by allowing us to form new connections and insights, and this part of the brain only lights up when we're not focused on any tasks or entertainment. The ability to master boredom is an underrated but crucial quality in developing yourself in the modern world, where it's mostly perceived as a negative feeling to get rid of, although it serves a fundamental purpose like hunger or thirst. Just like other emotions, boredom has evolutionary value. It lets you analyze what can be changed in your life and suggest ideas to take actions. Unfortunately, nowadays people cope with those warnings not in the healthiest way. Fighting boredom with fast-reaching methods like social media is just like fast food. It makes you feel good at the moment and fulfills you for some time, but then leads to undesirable consequences. Think of famous inventors. Newton's discovery of gravity shows how boredom can lead to revolutionary ideas. He was thinking of apple falling while being bored in his garden. Similarly, James Watt conceived the idea of steam engine while watching a boiling kettle in his kitchen, being frustrated by its inefficiency. Also, Steve Jobs developed an idea of iPod while being on the plane with limited entertainment options. Nietzsche also had opinion on boredom. He who completely shuts himself off from boredom also shuts himself off from himself. Now you may have a question, so what should I be doing about it? And the solution couldn't be simpler. I don't want to sound like an influencer that is going to sell you a course on opening your chakras and talking to the universe, but meditation is the perfect example of fully embracing your inner voice. And it's not one only Buddhist monks with a view on Tibet do. It's a powerful tool that many successful people practice. You just sit in your room alone, close your eyes, and try to have your mind clear for some time. 5 minutes for beginner is okay. If you have problems with it, or for example, don't have any extra 5 minutes, there is another thing you can try. Do it in solitude. Just start doing routine things without any noise in the background, while doing your dishes, or commuting to school or work, or before going to bed. Turn your headphones off and try to listen to your thoughts, not hearing them. Instead, we shouldn't rush to escape boredom. Let it take root, let it stir something deeper with us. Aristotle once said, "Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god." I want you to begin with simple things and do an experiment. Before going to bed, don't take a phone to your hand for 1 week, and instead try to listen to your thoughts without rejecting them just for 5 minutes. Yes, you won't see significant changes in 1 day, but take it a time, and in some time you'll realize that it was totally worth it. Thank you.